You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're so happy to have you join us today. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You. Lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, your host, executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer. Wow, what a day it's been. We live streamed our 400th show today. This is actually 402 since August of last year. So it just goes to show you that you don't know what's going to happen unless you put yourself out there and walk through that door. I have hand chosen a team of people who are experts in the world in their various disciplines and industries. And I've asked them to join me 6 times a week to present on A Better You. They present lessons to help make us better personally as well as professionally. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, please subscribe. Just click subscribe, USA Global TV. Joining me today is one of our experts. His name is Mike Harder, and he is president of Concentric. Hi, Mike. Nice to see you.
Hi, Dr. Jacalyn. It's good to be with you.
Mike is an amazing person. He is all about helping other people. That is his life's work. And we happened to meet through the Union League of Philadelphia, which is a wonderful organization. And what was it, 2, 3, 4 years ago, Mike?
Yeah, it probably was about 4 years ago. Yeah.
I'm coming up on 7 years, by the way.
I'm a little over 5 myself.
It's hard to believe how fast time goes by. But when I met you and your wife, it was at a PMR, which is what does the P stand for? Perspective member reception. Ding! And I really enjoyed the conversation that we had. And I thought, wow, there's a lot more to these people. I want to get to know them better. And I'm just so happy the journey that we've been on. And once we get back in person again, that meeting me, because I'm down on an island, I'm looking forward to getting together with both of you and just catching up. So thank you again for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
So as I mentioned to our audience, this show is about helping people be better personally or professionally by presenting lessons that are small bite-sized lessons that people could watch later on our learning platform. They could watch on their phone, they could watch on their computer. So what is it, Mike, that made you interested in being part of our team? When I asked you to join us, what were your thoughts about it, and what do you get out of it today?
Sure. Well, I mean, a couple things. One, I'm a Christian minister. A lot of my time is spent speaking in churches and to a church audience. But I believe that a lot of what I'm about and what my organization is about is applicable. It's relevant for people in the marketplace, for leaders, for business leaders, for entrepreneurs. The topics, the themes that I address a lot of the time with Christian leaders in the church also apply to people in the marketplace. Whether you find yourself as a Christian, a person of faith, or not, the topics are relevant.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Do you think that in general, in your experience, if someone's not a Christian, they feel intimidated speaking to you?
I certainly hope not, because I want to be approachable. I would say that probably, I don't know that I could say half, but a lot of my friends would say that there are people that are still trying to figure things out when it comes to God and faith, and so they wouldn't necessarily call themselves Christians. And I want to be, like any, I think, good person, you want to be a friend. And so I'm learning. I'm on a journey. I look at it this way. I say that we're on a journey of discovering the truth about life and and peace and happiness and love and why we're here. I believe there's a why. And my why stems from God, and other people are trying to figure out that why. And I love to have conversations about that and be friends. So hopefully I'm not intimidated, and I try not to be.
I definitely think you are not intimidating at all. I was referring to the fact that sometimes, like I'll give an example, and I think I shared this with you. When I got divorced, I stopped going to church because I felt like I was a failure, dirty. I don't know how to explain it. But I think sometimes we get in our own heads about our own behavior, and then when we start to look at religion, we're kind of conflicted.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say as a minister of 36 years, that I share, and any Christian minister that's honest will say they've shared those same sentiments, those same feelings well up in all of us. I'm not worthy and everything else. But that's the great thing about the good news that we hear from Jesus. It's not about us. It's about Him. It transcends us. It's not about our being good people. It's about Him entering into our world and loving us unconditionally, who we are, all the bumps, bruises, and hiccups of our lives. He still accepts us as we are. So
I definitely believe that. And, it just occurred to me, I'd love to have you back on another show to talk about a different subject, which is we actually have 2 shows that are with psychic mediums. And so I'd like to kind of have a conversation, another point about religion and psychic mediums. And is there an overlap? Are they completely separate? If you believe in psychics, you can't believe in God. I don't know any of those things. So,
well, yeah, you're just like grabbing one of the most controversial subjects right by the horn. Thanks a lot. It'll be interesting. That'd be good.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. All right. We'll definitely schedule that. So, Mike, what is your topic for today?
My topic is peace. Peace.
Love it.
Peace.
Simple and well stated. So I think what we're going to do is, before we go to your presentation, we're just going to watch a beautiful video that is by 2 sisters from Cardiff, and their names are the Debutantes, and the name of their video is Paradise. So let's just watch that, and we'll come back and have Mike present on peace. So I'm going to take us off the stage so that I can put this up. We'll be right back. Stay with us here on A Better You.
Paradise. Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hi, welcome back. That was the Debutantes. You can find them over on Instagram, and that was Paradise. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. And our expert presenter today is Mike Harder. He is the president of Concentric, and he's going to give us a lesson on peace. Are you ready, Mike?
I'm ready. Thanks again.
Okay. It's my pleasure. Do you want the timer, or are you okay?
It's up. I'm fine. I should be fine.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to spotlight you. I'm going to go backstage, and I'll be listening and taking notes. There you go. Thank you.
Well, as Jacalyn mentioned, and as I just said, I'd like to talk to you about the topic of peace today. It's something that we all pursue. It's something that we all desire. We pursue it at different levels and in different ways. And it's important because it's really at the heart of what we all desire in life. It's the root of what we're seeking after. I want to talk about it, but I would pose to you that we seek peace in very different ways because we operate with very different definitions, and sometimes our worldview can shape it. And so it's a confusing topic. And it can be a confusing pursuit as a result. It's kind of like grasping for a fistful of air, if you know what I mean. My hope is that I can help you gain a more robust and meaningful understanding of what true peace consists of, and maybe gain a different lens to look at life through and look at the pursuit of peace through, with it, and give you a different definition than what's maybe often the most common definitions in our culture, or our common perceptions of how we look at peace. I believe the perspective that I'm presenting to you today is it's more substantive, it's more satisfying, and it's more lasting than what we often get offered in our culture and in contemporary culture today. And it doesn't come from me. It comes from I would say it comes from God, and it comes from what the Christians would look to as the Bible. The Jewish and Christians would look at the Old Testament and New Testament. And so, unlike how peace is often defined, I would define it in a different way, and it makes it something that's different, and we pursue it in a different way, and it gives us a different result. Peace is often a synonym for happiness. We think of peace. When we think of peace, we think of happiness. And true happiness is not finally a matter of whether our circumstances are positive or negative. Circumstances may be the occasion for our happiness or peace, or lack thereof, but they're not the ultimate cause of peace. You see, peace depends far, far more on our disposition, the disposition of our heart, than it does on our life situation or circumstances. I've been around a lot of people that don't have the same circumstances, don't have great situations. Maybe they've got a terminal illness, but yet they have a peace that's very different than other people around them. It's not attached to their situation or their circumstances. Did you ever notice that a lot of self-help books and articles on topics that deal with self-helps rarely start with the big questions of life? One reason is that the worldview of the authors of many of these books is void. Personally, they're void of a transcendence. And so they tend to have me themselves at the center of the universe rather than someone that's greater than me. And if you are me, and if me, is at the center of the universe, then I can guarantee that it's not going to be very peace producing. There's too many factors and variables that upset the apple cart. People have failed century after century to produce peace by their own means. And as one maybe obtains peace for a time, it often is at the detriment of others. And so take somebody like Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., the classic secular 20th century thinker. He once wrote that there's no reason for attributing to a man a significance different in kind from that which belongs to a baboon or a grain of sand. And then he goes on and says, the world has produced me and the rattlesnake, but I will kill it if I get the chance. And the only reason is because it is incongruous to the world I want, the world we are all trying to make according to our own power. Now, this sounds incredibly bleak, doesn't it? But his thinking is just playing out from the implications of his view of the world and of reality. And all its inhabitants are here by sheer accident from Holmes's approach, his worldview to life. And so he makes himself the center of his reality. I don't believe that this is the right way to approach life. I believe we have purpose in life, and that this purpose comes from one that is greater than us. In fact, it comes from one that created us, from the one that created us, and the one that created all things. If you follow Oliver Wendell Holmes' logic and his worldview, then there's really no real reason for saying that human beings are valuable or have any inherent dignity. And second, there's also no real right or wrong. There's only power. And so there's no obligation to live in a way other than one that pleases you, and that you can get your way. You can get away with whatever you want as long as it's in pursuit of your personal happiness, your personal peace. In other words, it's a man eats man world, in other words, okay? And that's a very distressing and disturbing kind of reality. It doesn't work. It could work for you, but not for everybody. I know plenty of people with this worldview who simply refuse to go to the end of it. They don't go there. They don't go to the natural outcome of this worldview. They say, well, yes, I agree that we're all here by accident, but I just know that people are valuable and that injustice is wrong. Notice though that when you do that, when you go with your logic in this way, you're getting your peace of mind by refusing to rigorously intellectually think out the implications of your own view. But the peace of mind offered in the Jewish and Christian scriptures works in exactly the opposite direction. I'm a Christian minister, as I've mentioned on prior shows and here earlier. And the Christian learns from the Bible that the world was created by a God who wants our friendship. And even though we've turned away from him and made a mess of things in our lives and the lives of others, he continues to pursue us. And he moves heaven and earth to reacquire us and to reunite with us. And this work that he does has an infinite cost to himself. In fact, if we read the scripts, as we read the Christian Bible, we find that it cost him his own son. He sent his son in the world to be the one that redeems us, to reunite us with him, and to give his life for us. Nothing will stop the God of the universe from pursuing us and pursuing being reunited with us. And peace starts with an understanding that we were created for peace with God. But I'm getting into another topic there. Peace it's a common word, and it's used in various ways. For instance, in our culture and just common every day, we can use the word to represent the absence of war or conflict. In my work, I've developed friendships with people all over the world. Just this week, I've already talked with a friend in Nepal and Myanmar and the Philippines and in Cuba and Chile and South Africa and Czech Republic and Haiti. And we're only at Wednesday, okay? But if you've watched the news, then you know that in several of these countries right now that I mentioned, they're experiencing inner turmoil or war or conflict that's going on. And now when warring countries sign a treaty, or let's say factions within the country stop fighting each other, or when quarreling friends make up, we say that they're at peace with each other. And so there's the absence of war or conflict. We certainly need this in our world. It's a good pursuit. But there's more to the kind of peace that I am talking about here today than that. Peace also refers to rest. Webster's dictionary defines it as a state of tranquility or quiet. The Oxford Dictionary defines it a little bit different. It says a state of being calm or quiet. And so we can describe a place of peaceful or of peace, of peacefulness, or someone might say, I have peace of mind. I often take walks with my wife, Teresa, in the mornings on a trail on Saturday mornings, and it takes us through a cemetery. It's a quiet and tranquil peace, but or a quiet and tranquil place. But that's not the kind of peace that I want us to consider today. You see, in the Jewish and Christian Bible, peace is looked at in a different way. Biblical peace is more than just the absence of conflict or a state of rest. It means a completeness, a wholeness, and it points to and comes from the presence of something else, something transcendent and out of ourselves, God, in fact. You may have heard the Hebrew word for peace before. Maybe you have Jewish friends or you've read or heard it in movies, shalom. And this word appears 237 times in the Hebrew Bible. And the Hebrew word translated as peace, shalom, means completeness, soundness. It's talking about welfare, a completeness, a soundness, and welfare. And it comes from the root word shalom, which means to make amends or to make whole or complete. Wholeness and completeness, in other words. That's quite different than the other working definitions. It's more robust than what we tend to default to when we think about peace, right? Not just the absence of conflict and tranquility or quiet. It's a wholeness, a completeness. You see, in the Jewish and Christian scriptures, shalom or shalom is often used in terms of make and restitution. Take and the second book of the Bible, Exodus chapter 22. For example, it says, if a man stole an ox or a sheep from his neighbor under the law, he was to restore or shalom what he had taken. Therefore, to have shalom means to be in a state of wholeness and completeness without any deficiency or lack for you and for your neighbor. And so shalom is frequently used in the Bible in reference to the wellness of others and the well-being or welfare. In Jewish culture, people use shalom in greeting and an expression for each other. They'll say shalom, shalom al-kalem, which means well-being be upon you, or may you be well. And Jesus and others in the New Testament writers would greet each other, or they'd say farewell with the term peace or shalom. The word peace in the New Testament, which the New Testament Bible is written in the Greek, the word is eirene. And eirene means peace, quietness, one, rest. And it originates from the root word ero, which means to join or to tie together into a whole. And so eirene means unity. It means to bring multiple parts together to form a whole, to form a set as one again. For example, two friends who reconcile after a fight make eirene. They make peace with each other. They make wholeness. They become complete again. And they come back together in the relationship. It's whole again. Fun fact, in the English word serene, which means calm or peaceful, comes from the Greek word eirene that's used in the New Testament Bible, the Christian Bible. Now, what does this all mean, or what's it have to do with our pursuit of this more substantive peace that I'm talking about? Let's put it all together. I would pose to you that the peace that God offers us is different from the peace that the world offers us. And it's more robust than those first two definitions I gave you. Biblical peace is more than just the absence of conflict. It's actually taking action to restore a broken situation. And it's more than just a state of inner tranquility. It's a state of wholeness and completeness. And it comes from a transcendent force who enters into our world and brings peace that transforms our hearts. You see, biblical peace is not something you can create on your own. It's an outgrowth of a relationship with the transcendent, with God. In other words, God is the source of peace. In fact, one of his names in the Bible is Yahweh Shalom. The Lord is peace. Jesus is he refers to himself as the Prince of Peace. And so God offers us peace in three ways. He offers us first peace with him. Jesus is our peace with God. And you can email me if you want to know more about how to enter into that peace with God. The point is that all of us have broken our relationship with him and with others by poor choices, by what the Bible calls sin is the type of missing the mark and breaking relationships. But God offers the means for restoration through his son. He's rich in mercy and abounding in love, the Bible says. And so he brings us back to him. He offers that. He offers us peace with him. Second, he offers us peace, or he offers us a way toward peace with others. He is our peace with others. In him, we have reconciliation with others, and we can learn how to live at peace with others. And he empowers us by the third person of the Trinity described in the Bible. The Holy Spirit is the peacemaker with our neighbors. In fact, he calls us to be peacemakers like he's a peacemaker. And the third thing he offers us is peace with ourselves. Jesus is our peace within. The transcendent one comes within and he gives us peace. In him, we become a new creation. It says in 1 Corinthians 5:17. He makes us whole and complete in him. It says in Philippians 1:6, two different books written by the Apostle Paul. And so when trials come and tear us apart, cancer, an abusive relationship, political unrest, the loss of a job or loved ones, he is our peace. He's a peace that keeps us together. He keeps us whole amidst the outside forces that are pushing in on us and can be very difficult in the realities of life. The Bible talks a lot about peace. It's mentioned 329 times in the Bible. And if you want to know more about this kind of peace, peace from a different perspective, more than just the absence of conflict or tranquility, you can feel free to write me at itsmikeharder@gmail.com or at my email address that's at the bottom of the screen later on. Thanks for tuning in and allowing me to share my perspective and what I would say is a biblical perspective on peace. Shalom.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. That was terrific. How do you feel?
Good. Yeah, it's an important topic, especially in our world with so much conflict, right? This kind of inner peace that God offers us also gives us outer peace. It gives us peace with other people and gives us peace with ourselves and with him. So it's important.
It's really important, and I can see how they are, what's the word? So we have to have inner peace. And by the way, at different points in my life, I can say that I was at peace. I would say, oh, I feel I'm at peace. But then something would happen, and then that peace so easily goes away. And it sounds like what you're saying, if I'm making sure I'm understanding, is that when we believe in Jesus Christ, we believe in God, and when we feel the peace knowing that he is looking after us, and we can then feel at peace inside of ourselves. Is that totally wrong?
And I would say it's not just our believing in him, it's that we come to the reality that he believes in us, and he helps us. So it's not just a state of belief. It becomes part of our worldview and the way we approach reality. Because we can, like when I was on my back a couple of years ago and had back surgery, I was laid out, couldn't do anything. My wife had to walk me to the bathroom and take me to the hospital a couple of times. I had my world was a wreck on the outside. My body was a wreck, but I was able to get to the point by God's grace that I had peace amidst just horrific circumstances. And I learned more about peace. So we learn more about peace through hardship and suffering. I mean, we all want to pursue happiness, but a lot of people pursue it in the wrong ways. We do it. We do it through substances and stuff, and those things can all be taken away. But when you get an inner peace that comes from God, it can't as easily be taken away. It can be rocked and shook, if you get cancer or these things, but it can't be taken away because you didn't put it there. The God of the universe put it there.
And you bring up a really good point. I've interviewed obviously hundreds of people, and many people have overcome something really life-threatening, but yet they have this sense of peace. And other people, they're just running around like crazy people, creating commotion and not really looking at what is their relationship with God and what is the relationship with themselves. And I can see, like, somebody will be backstage and I'll look and I'll say, oh, that person's at peace. And it's reassuring, and it's also exciting.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
So for people who are looking to find this peace, I know you gave out your contact information. Is this something that takes a lifetime? Is it something that takes continuous revisiting? How would you describe that?
That's a good question. Well, I would say that the best things in life are all about relationship, and it's no different than with pursuing peace. We pursue peace with God. It's a relationship, and we grow in that relationship, and it gets deeper. The peace gets deeper. We start to understand who we are and who God is, and who He's made us to be as we spend more time with Him. And I would say the way we spend time with Him is through spending time in the Scriptures, through fellowship with other people that are like-minded and pursuing Him, and through prayer. And there's other things too, worship and such, and serving Him. But as we do that, we grow deeper in our understanding and awareness of peace. So yeah, it's a good question, a good point.
Thank you. Mike, has there been any study conducted to find out how the pandemic has impacted a person's religious connectivity, so to speak? Have people become more religious, less religious? There's no documentation, anything that you can share about that?
I've heard a lot of different things. I've read a lot of different papers. Some of them are, survey statistical studies, and some are more anecdotal and just based on conversations. I would say, as I've talked to people, particularly in other countries outside of the United States where you and I live, I found there's more context where people have actually grown in faith and grown in peace. In the U.S., some, and I would say that there's less people going to church right now. Some of it's because of fear, and you don't know, and they're being cautious still because of like yourself. And I have asthma, so you're a little bit more cautious because of the risks. But there's some that have just kind of checked out. They've gotten out of the practices and the routines. But what I see with those kinds of people is there is less peace, there's less connection, there's a loneliness, there's a depression, there's a higher level of depression. There's less depression with people, and there's more peace with people that are connected to others. We're meant to be in community with other people. So relationships are key all the time. So isolation is not a good thing. People that have checked out of churches, they tend to have more conflict, more depression, more issues. It's not that going to church or being with other Christians is like the answer to all things, that you're not going to have any more problems, but it gives you having presence, knowing that you're not alone in the battles of life is important. We're not meant to be alone. We're meant to be together with God and with others.
Do you think that there is value in watching and participating in church services online, or do you think that it's really just a Band-Aid?
Yeah, that's a great question. I wouldn't say it's a Band-Aid. I would say it's kind of like the difference between, date myself. When I was a kid, I watched TV and it was black and white. Today it's like high definition, and it was a little screen, like the size of my head or smaller. And now you've got these jumbotrons that are, bigger than a truck. And the high definition, it feels like you're there, right? So I would say the online church, if it's a great tool, it's a great gift that we have with technology. I use it all the time. I'm speaking. I don't travel now. My role makes me travel all over the world. I'm not traveling physically, but I spoke on this Saturday in the Philippines twice, and I mentioned in my little talk on peace there, I've been online on Zoom with friends all over the world this week already. So it's a gift, and I've preached in different places, but there's nothing like face-to-face, being able to physically be to be physically in the same space and be able to give each other a hug, a handshake, a high five. 3D is better than just the virtual. But if that's all you can get, it's a gift from God. I'd say technology is a gift, so use it.
Yes, I would agree. I have one more question that just popped into my head, and just in terms of peace and forgiveness, I can recall going to Gloria Day Church where I was living in Huntington Valley, and there was the first service was over. We were going to the 11 o'clock, and this one man and his, I guess, wife, they were in the car and they were trying to go for a parking spot that somebody was leaving, and they were blowing the horn. They got out of the car. They were yelling. And meanwhile, they just came out of church. And I thought to myself, I don't know about this.
It wasn't me, right?
It wasn't you. But so and I've seen this where people will go to church every day. It's a priority. They're going to 6 a.m. They're whatever it is they're doing. And at the same time, they're stabbing their brother in the back. Have you ever seen anything like this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's easy for any of us to get caught up and stressed out by circumstances and beep our horn at somebody on the road and get impatient. But at the end of the day, those are all signs of our lack of inner peace, of really focusing on Christ in us and getting caught up in the circumstances around it. When we become impatient with life and with other people, we're losing perspective on what's really important in life. So it's easy to do that.
Yes, and maybe that's the reason why they continue to go to church 7 days a week, because they're searching for the peace, and they want to just confess their sins and that they're not happy with their own behavior.
Yeah, and it's funny because sometimes we're searching for the thing that's right in front of us, but we search for it in the wrong way, or we have the wrong definitions. And like I said, some people we self-medicate through doing the right things, or through substance abuse, or through TV or social media or whatever, and we the whole time right in front of us is God is saying, I'm the one, I'm the Prince of Peace, I'm the one who can give you peace. And you could miss it even going to church. People miss it all the time. There's a lot of people sit in the pew week after week thinking that it's about what they do, trying to please God, and God's saying, you can't. It's not about pleasing me. It's about, I want you to know me, and I want to know you. I want a relationship with you.
And I think there's also a difference in showing up in a church, or if it's a synagogue or wherever it is you worship, and actually being present, as opposed to, I got to go into church for 10 minutes. I know some people, like, they would just go to church. I'm going to check in the back. I'm going to spend 10 minutes. I'll be right out. It's like, I don't get that. Why are you going?
Right. It's just going through the motions. So you get check the boxes. I did that. Been there, done that today. So yeah.
But when we look at real true peace, that's not a behavior that's going to be aligned with that.
It's not. It really isn't. When you see, true peace it becomes a wholeness that makes all things new in your life, and it gives you a different perspective on how you approach life and how you approach others and how you use your time, and just it's the lens. It becomes the lens that you look at life through. So,
Mike. Yes. As we close out this show, because we have another one right after this, I'm going to spotlight you. Would you please tell us about Concentric and the work that you do there?
Sure. So Concentric is an organization that does equipping for ministry leaders. I would say lay leaders, volunteers, as well as paid ministers and missionaries. We're in about 130 countries now, I think 134 countries around the globe. And we do leadership equipping for ministry leaders. We help them help others in their congregations and their ministries learn how to follow Jesus, how to things like how to develop the peace of God in their lives, and how to share their faith with others and help others do the same. So that's what we do. That's what I do. I call it leadership development. It's a lot more than that, but it's an easy way to define it on Business Talk Radio and things like that. So
we do play your sponsorship on a regular basis. So
Thanks for doing
So
that.
I try to let our audience know about Concentric. So how can people reach out to you? We do have the banner streaming, but for people on the radio who can't see it.
If they're curious about what we do, you can reach me at my email address there. You can also go to our website. If you have a heart for leaders in other countries, for let's say ministers, pastors in countries that are developing, third world countries, developing countries that don't have means for leadership development, you can get on our website there and find out more how to get involved, how to even support, financially support or prayerfully support a leader in a place like Nepal or others. You can write me about that as well.
Thank you, Mike. You're doing incredible work as always, and it's a pleasure to see you. And I look forward to having you come back again. And if you're just joining us, I see some people on Facebook. Please go over to our YouTube channel so you can watch this from the beginning. It's USA Global TV. You can look for the playlist, A Better You, and this will be right there.
It's good to be with you. Thanks. Again.
Nice to see you. Thanks, Mike. Take care. We'll see you again soon.
Yep. God bless.
Bye. God bless you. We have one more show for today. It's called In the Name of Love. And we would love to have you join us. That show is starting in 16 minutes. So I'm going to go do a quick change. Thank you so much to Mike. And thank you to our team of expert presenters. Again, we have 6 shows a week that we love to have our experts share their lessons. And we will be making these lessons available for purchase. You can actually take a quiz on each lesson and get certified and play some games while you're on the platform. More information to come on that. Thank you and take care.